Oh, hello there, boys and girls. My name is Professor T.H. Butenhout, and I'm a scientist. I'm here today to teach you about one of my favorite animals, the bat, and one of my favorite attributes. Or attributes of that animal. Now, that particular attribute, or battribute, is sonar, or echolocation. Come along, why don't we start with a bit of an overview? Bats account for about 1/5 of all mammals, as illustrated in this here diagram. Bats are a part of is Chiroptera, which is Latin for hand wing. This is because their wings are easily recognizable as hands, with 4 fingers and a thumb. The world's largest bat, the flying fox, has a wingspan of over 5 feet and a body about the size of a pigeon's. The Kitty's hogsnose bat, the world's smallest, is about the size of a bumblebee. No more milk. Now, several different types of bats eat several different types of foods, such as insects, fruits, fish, even rodents. Now, the vampire bat is the only bat to survive on blood, and it very rarely ever attacks people. It goes for chickens, pigs, and the like. In the rare event that it has fed on a human, it has gone for the big toe rather than the neck, contrary to popular belief. Now for my favorite part, bat sonar. Now, there are 2 different types of bats, megabats and microbats, and microbats are the avid users of echolocation. There's quite an interesting story as to how bat sonar was discovered. Let's listen. 18th century Italian physiologist Lazzaro Spallanzani discovered that bats use sonar to navigate by conducting a strange experiment. First, he discovered that they were not at all disoriented, flying in complete darkness, flying and maneuvering obstacles normally. Then, he made little hoods that covered their ears, inhibiting their hearing. When he did that, they bumped into obstacles, impeded by the hoods. Then he tried blinding the bats. This was considered inhumane even in the 18th century. However, when the bats recovered from the trauma, they were able to function just as well as they had before. Spallanzani even noticed that when choosing rock surfaces from which to roost, the blinded bats could distinguish the rough surfaces with more grip from the smooth ones. He also noticed they hunted just as efficiently. Now, as far as frequency goes, the frequency of a bat call ranges generally from 9 kHz units to 200 kHz units. As far as hearing frequency, bats can hear about as low as 1,000 Hz units and a high of 150,000 Hz units. We humans can only hear as low as 20 Hz units and as high as 20,000. Bats really have the edge on us in that department, don't they? Now, as for amplitude or loudness of a bat call, some bat calls have been measured to be as loud as 110 decibels. That's about as loud as one of your new swinging rock and roll bands. You're probably wondering how bats prevent damage to their own hearing, and they do that by closing up their own ears. Now, when the bat beams sound forward, the bat beams it either nasally or orally, depending on the species. Now, bats who beam the sound nasally usually possess a sort of a nose leaf that serves either to funnel the sound into a cone shape or to bounce the sound back and reflect it towards the ears. Some bats are even managed to sort of use the nose leaf to cast an echo shadow back towards the ears. Bats who emit their pulses orally generally lack nose leaves, and their snouts are usually similar to dogs or rodents, more elongated and pronounced. Some bats, such as the mustache bat, manage to shape their lips into a sort of a megaphone shape and beam the sound forward through that. Now, how does the bat see with this sound, you ask? Well, the bat emits ultrasonic sounds which bounce off an object back to the bat. The bat can measure the delay in time from the emission of the sound to the return of the echo, and from that can determine the distance of the object. The bat even uses the echo's amplitude to determine the size and shape of the object. Now for a few of bat sonar's limitations. First of all, not all of the sound is projected equally. Most of the sound can only be heard in front of the bat. Second of all, sound sometimes can be transmitted or absorbed rather than reflected back by objects in the foreground of the chirp's path. The amount of sound reflected back usually depends on the dimensions of the object the sound hits, in relation to the wavelengths of the sound. Usually, however, the objects of interest to bats, like food or obstacles of about 1 millimeter or more in diameter, adequately reflect the sound back to the bat.
Well, boys and girls, I hope you'd enjoyed yourselves learning about this magnificent creature and its means of navigation and hunting. Until next time, my name's Professor T.H. Butenhauer, and I'm a scientist.